So I want to talk about a few things going on in gaming right now. I guess it makes more sense to post this on my gaming channel, but I couldn't really think of a political topic to talk about right now, and it is related to politics because it's related to a lot of culture war issues going on in the video game industry, and I also just don't want a political shitstorm to unleash on my gaming channel right now. So I'm gonna talk about it here. A couple of things going on recently with a few games. There was the controversy about Black Myth Wukong and its lack of diversity, a game that it's based off a story. It's about from with Chinese mythology. So yeah, you're not gonna have a racially and ethnically diverse cast of characters because that's not what the setting entails, and there's really no justification for it other than trying to make some kind of statement about diversity, like just going out of your way for it. Like, diversity is not on its own a bad thing, and it's not on its own, quote unquote woke and propaganda. But I think when you go out of your way to do it, at like with the whole Assassin's Creed, what's it called, Assassin's Creed Shadows, having a black samurai protagonist, even though people are like, well, he was an actual historical figure, so, but it's like, okay, you finally have a game that takes place in feudal Japan, and out of all, like, to focus on him, never mind the fact that it's the first time, from my understanding, that an Assassin's Creed protagonist was actually, like, a real person, right? Obviously, Ezio was not a real person. Altair was not a real person. What was his name? Connor, the Native American guy? And that's another thing. He was a Native American guy. No one had a problem with that because, there were a lot of Native Americans during the American Revolution. That was Assassin's Creed 3. And also, I forget the name of the guy because I never played Assassin's Creed 4, but I know the black guy was the protagonist. Oh no, he was the protagonist of the DLC, not the main game. See, I'll admit I'm not an Assassin's Creed fan, but based off the little knowledge that I have, that game is not really known to have historical figures as the main protagonist, and it's seemingly like they went out of their way to have a black protagonist in a game set in feudal Japan. And I know there were people in the Japanese community that were not happy about that. And honestly, I can understand that perspective, especially since it's not like Asian representation is such a huge thing in gaming. So to not have an Asian protagonist in an Asian setting, in an Asian country, feudal Japan, it's just very, very, very weird. So in that case, I'm like, okay, I think you're going a little bit too far and a little bit out of the way with the whole diversity thing. And people making a fuss about, like, Black Myth Wukong not having a whole lot of having much of a diverse cast. It's based off of Chinese mythology. Like, come on, let's calm down for a second. But there were reviewers that knocked down a couple of points because of the lack of diversity, and I'm like, really? Like, that's why people don't really take games journalists too seriously, even though they're not. It wasn't most of the reviews, but still, it was enough to, not really make gaming journalism look too good, really. And I saw, but then, like, it goes both ways. There's stupid people on both sides of this cultural debate, because I saw a Reddit post yesterday while I was scrolling during my break at work, and I saw a side-by-side comparison between Black Myth Wukong, which just released today or yesterday or whatever, like, it just came out, 1.5 million players on Steam, which is amazing. And I'm actually going to get the game myself very soon, not because I was interested in even playing it. It's like one of those Souls-like games. I really don't fuck with those games because I suck ass at video games. But it's coming with my brand new gaming PC, my CyberPower PC that I'm about to order very soon. It comes with a new it comes with Black Myth Wukong. So cool, sure. I guess I'll check it out and play it. I got 4070 Super and a fucking what's it called, Ryzen 7 X3D, something like that. It's a really good, like, I did research, and it's a really good build, and I'm getting it for like $1,700, something like that. From what I hear, though, it's not that much more expensive, actually, than building it yourself. So I'm excited for that PC. But it was a side-by-side comparison, between the 1.5 million players on Black Myth Wukong and like the 200 people playing Suicide Squad on Steam and like the 40 people playing Saints Row, and it had a list of a whole bunch of games, Concord, and it's like, look, go woke, go broke, look at this game. It's not pandering to the woke ideology. Black Myth Wukong is not woke trash, and all these other games are. And I'm like, I think these games are just trash in general. I don't think anyone is going to argue that those are good games. And I really don't think, okay, maybe it was Saints Row because they had like these Gen Z hipster fucking protagonists. It just didn't, it didn't work. I don't know necessarily if it was woke because, I mean, it was just bad jokes and just a bad game. And it was like, the game didn't even like have, like, for like a long time, at least like for 6 months, it wasn't even in a playable state. Like, it was broken, like very, very, very fucked up. So that was one thing. Suicide Squad, I don't even know too much about that to know if it was woke or not. I mean, I really can't say anything about that. For what it's worth, though, Baldur's Gate 3 is a game that has a lot of, like, you know, progressive story elements to it. And no one's complaining. No one's ever complained about that game being woke. It was like a universally beloved game. But there's like, if you look at it, there's like a lot of stuff that a quote-unquote woke leftist would appreciate in Baldur's Gate 3. But then like people are talking about Dragon Age, Veilguard. That's a game that I'm actually looking forward to. But oh my god, you can pick non-binary as an option. I don't care enough about it to be like, oh my god, I don't want to play the game. And then the two of the elf characters, one of them's black and the other is Asian looking. It's like the end of the fucking world. I don't fucking care. As long as the game is good and the storytelling is good, I really couldn't give less of a fuck. And there's a truck turning right into me. Jesus fucking Christ. That is crazy. That is fucking crazy. If I went the speed limit, my car would be an accordion right now. That's all I'm gonna say. But man, that's all I can. Like, the story just sucks in those games that people talk about being woke. It having diverse characters and having all those other elements are just honestly a coincidence, in my opinion, because, you know, there are games like Baldur's Gate 3 and other ones that are diverse and have all that stuff, and people don't complain because the game is so fucking good. You know? And it's just so tiring to see that shit, that cancerous shit being brought into video games, but it's just natural, you know? That's going to happen with, like, any media, like TV, movies, books, like anything you can think of. You're going to have this political this political shit show being fucking spread and being talked about everywhere. There's no escape from it. Sports, you know, it's always everywhere. And it's tiring and it's frustrating, but that's just the way it is. And I think, you know, it's just like you notice it more because now we're so culturally and politically divided these days that you're going to notice it a lot more. Like, there was always political shit going on in the video game industry going back years and years and years and years and years. It's just now people are paying more attention to it and it's becoming more contentious and divisive. Why did I say divisive? Divisive. That's how you say the word. Divisive. I don't care. But I can't say I've ever not bought a video game just because it's so-called woke. I don't buy a video game because I think the gameplay sucks, and I think the story sucks, and I think it's overpriced, and it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? So I think people probably take a little bit too much stock in this on both sides. Like, I think, you know, people who think that, you know, games there are two extremes to both ends. There's someone like The Quartering who just says nonstop woke, 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 and won't shut the fuck up about it. And then there's people like, you know, the game critics that said that Black Myth Wukong was not diverse enough and it, you know, deserved to get less positive review because it didn't have enough diversity and didn't go out of its way to be progressive enough. That's what really, like, that shit frustrates me. If it's a game like in a modern setting or whatever, or even like a Dragon Age where it's a fantasy setting, go all on what you want to do when it comes to like the diversity and all other shit. When it's like a historical setting, like the black women that fought for the Nazis in Call of Duty World War II, I have a fucking problem with it. I'll just say like I just straight up have a problem with it because you're taking away from the immersion and you're just like it's just like a fucking joke at that point. Like it's like ridiculous, but not in a good way. Yeah, because there's some games that are over the top and ridiculous, but when it's presented in a historical way that tries to take itself seriously and then has black people, like black women fighting for the Germans and like women fighting for the like in World War II and that kind of shit, like okay, come on. You're going out of your way to pander. I don't know who you're pandering to at that point, but you're pandering, and it's just like, okay, can we fucking relax with that shit? You know, so that's my thoughts on the whole, culture wars in gaming. There are definitely people, one way or the other, woke or anti-woke, that just take things way too far. And it's really fucking annoying. I just want to fucking sit down and play my video games and not hear about all this other fucking shit. And, the whole Sweet Baby, I don't even know anything about that, but people talk about that shit too. It's like, I just want to play my games in peace and not have to hear any of this bullshit,